See, Joe actually said to me that they're not going to, what he doesn't get is they do. It doesn't matter if my mom's irrationally blaming me, hating me, and out of her mind on drugs. They take as gospel truth anything she says. Because he's like, she's like, they're not going to, what she says doesn't matter. That's what Joe thinks, but he's wrong. What your mom says doesn't matter. She's out of her mind. They can't, that's hearsay, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can guarantee you, when we get that printout of that transcript, Joe's going to be like, holy shit, when he sees what my aunt said in that court to get emergency guardianship conservatorship over my mom. He falsely believes that they can't take, that. But he's wrong. Remember when Auntie was my pseudo friend? What did she say? Oh, your mom goes in these hospitals saying, she'd be perfectly fine if you didn't yell at her all the time. And I told them that she makes up stories about family members when she's sick. We don't want a repeat of what happened before with elder services coming, breathing down our necks or whatnot. Okay? And when Auntie was my pseudo friend, she said, don't worry, I'll stand by you, Laura. You've been a godsend to your mom and to me. All this crap I forwarded, it's not crap, it's real shit that Auntie wrote that I forwarded to Karen. Yeah, Joe's foolish enough. Everything he knows about the world, and he still thinks, oh, write an affidavit, Laura. He thinks that they'll actually care. They're not going to give one flying fuck. They are not going to care, Joe. Auntie and that hospital staff conspired, and my mom, it doesn't matter. She'll throw me under the bus. We've seen that repeatedly. She will throw me under the bus and not tell the truth to make herself look like she's perfectly fine. And I still kept coming back for more. I should have got out while I had the chance. While my mom still loved me and, would have given me a substantial amount to start a new life with my dog. And again, it would be a drop in the bucket. It wouldn't affect her life at all. Not one iota. Just like Auntie paying the fucking relatively low utilities for several months wouldn't affect either my mom's money, or wouldn't affect my mom's life or Auntie's life one iota. It's just all about control and sticking it to me. It's all it's about. It's all it's about, people. It's only fair that you pay the utilities. Nothing about this is fair to me, you fucking two-faced bitch. I was killing myself trying to help my mom. Putting everything, all my health, mental health, physical health, everything on the back burner to endlessly advocate for my mother. And when she was locked up in the mental hospital, I was worried sick about her and worried about her being over-medicated and it's just sick that this has happened to me. It's sick. Auntie didn't give one flying fuck. That's what Karen saw. Auntie didn't give one flying fuck until it was convenient for Auntie. You know, until she could get something out of it. Proof of that is this. I'm going to go all the way back to January, peeps. I'll tell you what I wrote to Auntie in January and what she wrote in response. And I also left her messages. Alright, so January 25th, 4:53 a.m. That was Auntie. January 25th, 12:11 a.m. Okay, so we got this to Auntie. I do yell at her sometimes, and I do try to get her to do everything she can to maintain her health. But I have a very strong personality, and certain things like her stupid, clueless friends bad-mouthing me enrages me. I also understandably become very upset with her when she puts Omar's life in danger. Bottom line is I am imperfect and lack the infinite patience required of me if I wish to live here with her and not be accused of committing elder abuse against her for yelling at her sometimes and, quotations, telling her what to do for her own good, not because I want to be a mean, controlling bitch. She needs someone living with her who will never raise his or her voice and is more my mother's speed. I have to move out and allow my mother to live her life exactly how she wishes to live it. But right now, you need to make sure your sick sister makes it to her psychiatrist appointment. You know I love my mom, but I don't want her breaking because I unintentionally put too much pressure on her or push her too hard. So for her sake, not mine, it's best I do not live here with her anymore. This sucks, but everything sucks. Maybe I'll move out and supplement my income by doing phone sex again after all these years. So I sent that to Auntie on January 25th at 12:11 a.m. And here was her response. Laura, it's not your fault your mom's breaking again any more than it's my fault she gets hospitalized when she does. And then about getting her to a psychiatrist appointment. I can't take her today. I'm going into blah, blah, blah. You know, she had plans. However, when I get back, if you make sure you're there to open the door for me, you know, because my mom will try to keep out anyone, you know, I'll get her to the hospital. And then I'm leaving out of the country for 2 weeks. Don't want to leave you with no way to stop your mom from going deeper into psychotic state than she needs to. The quicker she gets help, the quicker she'll get better. Okay? That was Auntie's response. Nonchalant. Okay? to me saying, yeah, sometimes, but most of the time, no. Like I said, I'm not verbally abusing my mom if I lose my cool once out of like 50 times, and all the other times I keep my cool, you know? But Auntie can just go and say whatever she wants to a judge and make it out that I just am, you know? It's just sick. Oh, this was one where I'm just saying, Auntie, they need to know that this was where I was concerned because I wanted to know what was happening with my mom, and I was talking about when I lived with Bobby. That's when Auntie was my enemy, and Auntie met with her mom's social worker in person. Later I did as well with Advocate. And then I guess Auntie was on vacation, and my mom, on this latest hospital, so my mom kept telling me her doctor wanted to have a meeting with me, but I couldn't get there. So I just spent hundreds of dollars on a taxi. My mom's church friend and I both, I'm saying this to Auntie, my mom's church friend and I both believed you would want to, you know, talk to my mom's doctors in person, see my mom at the same time. I'm going to leave yet another message with my mom's social worker and tell her to call you. I highly doubt she'll call you on her own, and I want to know what's going on with my mother in capitals. And then I said they already had the healthcare proxy info. They need to know you're back from vacation and concerned about your sister, exclamation point. And then I guess I was a response to Auntie just being nonchalant, you know. They'll get to me when they get to me, and you know the drill, Laura. If your member's being well, they'll commit her after a month. Blah, blah. And I wrote also, I believe that it was 3 weeks' time and not a month, but even that's something I do not know for sure. My mom entered that hospital that later violated her rights. I intended her farce of a commitment hearing less than 3 weeks later because the dog woman was willing to drive me to that hospital that important day if I paid her $50. Just telling Auntie this because Auntie's unconcerned and I want to know what's happening with my mom in the fucking hospital. The latest one she was put into, you know, right before Auntie was going on her little annual vacation out of the country. Auntie was a healthcare proxy, you know. Here's something I wrote to her church friend because she lied to her. She'll lie and make up shit and act like nothing's wrong and that I'm just overreacting and it's not true, so I set this woman straight. Remember in the past I wasn't able to set her straight and she would lie through whoever to this teeth. The one time the woman was going to call fucking cops on me. I later got to become pseudo-friends with this woman and tell her about that time, yeah, you were going to call the cops on me. You know, my mom told me, so, because what my mom was saying wasn't even true. My mom was saying to you, she tells me what to do, she tells me when to go to bed. Yeah, she was endangering herself, drinking obscene amounts of coffee and forcing herself to stay awake. that was me telling her what to do, stop drinking so much coffee, and to go to bed. She was on no sleep, and then I couldn't. This was in the past. And now I'm going to make sure this woman, now that it's the future, and I can tell her the real gist, you know, the truth, rather than my mom's fantasy lies. To this woman, she did not sleep at all. Wants me out because she still had not gone to bed at all and was listening to the radio in her room at 4 a.m. I made her tea. I put on-demand comedy on. She would not stop bugging me when I begged her to. Now she just turned on the radio loud enough for me to hear it through my earplugs and hates me for getting upset. Do not let her lie to you. She took a shower, because she'll lie and say, oh yeah, I went to bed. And then the woman will say, yeah, she said she went to bed and it was fine. No, she's lying. Just like she goes into these hospitals and lies. And is believed. They take as the gospel truth the word of an extremely mentally ill woman who a nurse had told me 2 days prior, like I said, this is 2 days before she revoked the release, was doing so badly that she was practically catatonic, unresponsive to staff, and refusing to take her meds. And this is who Auntie gets to go in and listen to and poison, and they take as the gospel truth everything she says. It's un-fucking believable. She took a shower at 1:30 a.m. and was still coming out to the living room and bothering me at 3 a.m. At 4 a.m. she was still wide awake and got up to shut off her radio, have more to drink, and asked me if she could have a third Tootsie Pop that night. I lost it at that point and told her to go to bed, 3 times exclamation point. She slept 2 hours at most and woke me up with the goddamn radio a little before 6 a.m. I am on 2 fucking hours sleep and she wants me out of here. She needs to be hospitalized. She is blaming me for everything when I just wanted her to go to bed and at least try to sleep because I knew how early she had to get up and because I wanted her to leave me alone so I could watch TV and make myself sleepy in peace. She is really sick and, as usual, hating and blaming me. I can't go today. There is no point in me going and upsetting her with my presence, but you need to keep me posted by a detailed text. I will sneak down. This is when the church woman was going to, get my mom to go to the regular hospital. This is back when we all, Auntie, me, the church woman, all falsely believed the regular hospital would just, adjust her meds and not, they don't. I found that out. They will automatically, if she's not well, they automatically call crisis and section her and get her sent to a mental hospital. It doesn't matter if she just got released one day. It doesn't matter. You understand? It doesn't matter. They do not just adjust her meds and send her home ever. I will sneak down the street with a bag to put in your trunk and pray you're able to get her the help she clearly needs. I would go to a hotel, but I am not leaving my Oma here alone with her. I can't take this, Jasmine. I just want to sleep a few hours, and her fucking radio woke me up through my earplugs a measly 2 hours after she and I had both finally gone to bed. This was sent in April. And this was that morning that I did wind up going with her to get my mom to the hospital. When it's the same morning that she comes here, and it was total fiasco, total chaos. And then she's allergic to Omar, and she knows how Omar gets out or whatever, but she doesn't take it seriously, and she leaves without telling me she's leaving. Omar followed her out, and she was in shock, but, it was her own goddamn fault. So on top of everything else, my dog could have got killed, too. But I'm supposed to have infinite patience with my mom all the time. Never, ever, because she's older, never, even if she screams at me at the top of her lungs, never, ever raise my voice, never, ever get frustrated. I'm supposed to be a perfect, absolutely perfect human being, or I will have the fucking elder services breathing down my neck. That's what I learned, Even the lawyer knows that's a joke. That's why he was able to smooth things over with them. And with me, it's like, oh yeah, someone, they don't tell me what happened. They can't give details. They don't want to start, a war in the neighborhood, whatever. But they just, and I smoothed it over and said, she wants to live with you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, someone probably overheard you having a fight or something. Because he knows, most people know, no matter, you can't be, nobody's fucking perfect. It doesn't mean I go around just taking all my frustrations out of my mom, my poor little mother, and yelling at her all the time for no reason, and you're calling her names and whatnot. It's a bunch of hooey. But that's what ignorant people will take from any, it's sick. And when I have lost my cool and I've apologized to her, she's done the same thing to me. When she screamed at me at the top of her lungs, she told me she was sorry, ignorant people's eyes, I'm supposed to be just this perfect human being at all times when I am dealing with that shit. Like I said, she's not going to go to bed, so just leave me alone. But no, she can't do that. She keeps bugging me, and then she finally goes to bed, and 2 hours later she's up playing her radio so loud, and I'm on 2 hours sleep that I can hear it through my fucking earplugs. But I'm just supposed to have infinite patience at all times, right? Fucking believable. And then when I tell Auntie things like, I need to get out of here, this is what I get from Auntie, you know? This is when I was asking her, you know, will she stand up for me? Because, you know, my mom lies through her teeth. I'll stand up for you, Laura. You've been a godsend to me and your mom. That was back in January of this year. And then we got from Auntie also, now you know what I've been through when your mom gets sick. You know, when your mom got sick, I became her half-sister and an evil fucking person and whatnot. And this says, I don't know, it was a typo, I guess. She's Sumir, or whatever that means. You can't take what she says as her real feelings. Of course not, Auntie. But you're going to take everything she says as the gospel truth when it benefits you. And you can turn around and go in front of a judge and regain the power that I have a text from you saying you'll never get involved again. You know? She hates anyone who tries to stop her from acting out her crazy fantasies. That was back in January. And then Auntie wrote, you're her healthcare proxy, you have a say where she's sent. X hospital is the best one. I have to be someplace, blah, blah, blah. I'll contact you when I get back, blah, blah, blah. Laura, you need to keep your phone on. I'm leaving, you know, out of the country, you know, for her 2 or 3 week out of the country annual vacation. So I'm the healthcare proxy because I was the alternate. Remember, when Auntie was around for a couple of hospitals, she just didn't want to be bothered, so I was the one advocating. I was the one doing everything anyway, even though she was still the healthcare proxy. I'm here for you, Laura. We need to be a team for your mom's sake. Yeah. What bullshit that was. The second I stopped kissing your ass. And meanwhile, I stopped kissing your ass over my concern for my mom, not over anything else. I'd smothered down my irritation when she'd get new little digs in and always saying it's my cousin's fault that this happened to my mom or that happened and she lost all the money, blah, blah, whatever. It's just sick. And this one, by the way, the hospital today called Auntie and said, your mom said, of course, I'm the scapegoat, my mom does nothing wrong, right? Your mom said she'd be perfectly fine if you stopped yelling at her all the time. I told them she makes up stories about family members when she's sick, and it wasn't true. I didn't want them calling elder services, that's, you know, and that's all we need, yeah. You're such a phony, two-faced bitch, Marion. Unfucking-believable. And then that time I wound up hospitalized because I was all upset over my mom. You know, I'd found everything. Then I found out that she didn't have her Medicare days anymore. I found out all this crap. I found out, you know, whatever. And then Auntie's like, you know, if your mom will go off the deep end and never recover if anything happens to you. That turned out to be a load of hooey, huh? My mom could throw me to the wolves and not have it just for, you know, and not bat an eyelash. Turn back to the same sister she used to cry to me all the time about. She doesn't care about me, and Selena knows that. Selena would post comments, well, it has to hurt your mom to know her. So now her sister's doting on her hand and foot. Now she's going to get something out of it. Huge. Including getting to regain her power and fuck me over at the same time. Anyway, Karen is going to send me those and let me post them publicly, but I had to delete them to make room, you know. Basically, she was saying, yeah, it's like Auntie just didn't care, didn't want to be bothered, was putting all the responsibility on you, saying you have the time for this, I don't, etc., etc., you know. Everything that happens sick. Oh, Joe's gonna probably throw up when he reads what Auntie said. Because Joe knows the truth. Joe's been getting daily emails from me throughout these years, throughout all this shit. Including when I had to welcome into my home a guy my mom met in a fucking mental hospital who'd promised to help her fight her sister, you know? And yes, literally, he was in our home. I had to welcome him in, and if I had the audacity to say anything, even remotely negative about my mom's new, quote, friend, unquote, who she really was secretly viewing as her boyfriend, even though he was my age, practically, maybe younger, I would get things like, you know, mean, I'm being mean, you know? And that can translate over to her just because she's not very complex or deep. Tells me who to have for, you know, as fresh she doesn't want me to have, you know, whatever, you know? But I'm just concerned about a guy she met in a fucking mental hospital, welcoming him into our lives, and I have to hear, you have Joe, you don't want me to have any friends, you don't want me to have a boyfriend, you know? And then, when he didn't return her calls, she's moping and moping and moping and so depressed, and why doesn't he call me, Laura? What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say to her why he doesn't call her, you know? I have an apology letter from her. I'm sorry that I've been treating you so badly, Laura. I'm really upset about Sam not calling me and blah, 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 whatever, you know what I mean? I could lose my benefits too, people, and don't fucking care. That'll propel me for, cause me to even further. Right now I'm just toying with the idea of going to meet that guy, that fetish photographer. I really don't think will hurt me. Just because my friend down the street was scared about him, that in that world, it doesn't mean, if they're afraid of that world, it doesn't mean that the person's dangerous, It's all fantasy. But whatever. You think I'm even remotely going to sit in front of some fucking therapist and if it had been my therapist I'd been seeing all along and knew the whole story, it'd be one thing, and start from scratch and say X, Y, no. I hate that fucking world. It's not just Auntie that did this to me. You understand? It's that fucking world that gets impunity. They can discharge my mom when she's not remotely ready to be discharged, and then I have to deal with the fallout, and then I'm accused of elder abuse because she can just make stuff up because she hates me. That sums it up. Consider I know I didn't do anything wrong this last time around. I was walking on eggshells with her constantly, dealing with just about an impossible situation. Like I said, I could have, and if it had been Auntie, she wouldn't have put up with it. I even told Auntie, I'm like, I told her, I'm not going to call on my mom unless, if I actually have to, if I feel like it's really, really, I'm not just going to call because she's bothering me or something. But I also got her away from Nurse Ratched and her therapist because I know how she's being with me, and she doesn't have any common sense in that area because one time she got sectioned by him for mouthing off to him in a breakdown. I knew I was desperately trying to protect my mom because it's killing her winding up in these hospitals 2 days after she gets discharged too soon. So I hold them all responsible, not just, you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, they're all responsible for the situation I'm in right now. And I am not going to fucking go to some little therapist who doesn't have a clue in the universe anyway. I liked that last therapist. But, like Selena said, the woman was still, she's in her little 20s, and she could say, oh, I'm sorry, she studied things in a book or whatever, but she doesn't know anything about real life. But I liked her because she was nice to me, but it doesn't mean she understands shit, believe me. I know the difference between somebody who's been around the block or two and understands shit and someone who doesn't. I get therapists that are supposedly, supposed to be concentrating on trauma-based stuff or whatever. I did have an older therapist before who probably, I'm sure, being older, she was older than me, and I'm sure she did understand more. But she was the one I was seeing, and then I wasn't going to see any therapist. It was winter, and that's when, 2012, when I moved in with my mom. She was the one that I saw a couple of times when I was still in the shelter. And it would have been traveling far in winter, and, I didn't want to deal with it. Just wanted a break. Then all kinds of shit was going down on here again. So then I did get back with someone else, and that was a 20-something-year-old. She's the one I cried to when my mom was insisting she was going to drive again, and I'm mean if I tell her, I'll stop you. Somehow. Again, and I have a thing from Auntie, a text, your mom won't be able to drive. She doesn't have a valid license. Yes, she does. She has a valid license that allows her to drive right now that doesn't expire for years and have the money to get a car, Auntie. You're just so fucking ignorant you don't even realize that. Yeah, Karen wrote, yeah, it seems like your aunt's just really busy with her own life and wanted to put all the responsibility on you. But then she grabs her opportunity the moment it arrives, when the unthinkable happens, when your mom actually really seriously turns against you. And I have texts from Auntie, too, I can read to you, where Auntie's like, your mom, I visited your mom, or I talked to her on the phone, she was so angry, so negative, bringing up every bad thing in her life. Yeah, and I'm the one living with her feeling that way, Auntie, when she's discharged from these hospitals too soon, and she's not even remotely her normal sweet self. I'm the one living with being with that anger towards everything and everybody and whatever, But then Auntie turns around and says, because I'm complaining about my mom being over-medicated and I feel bad for her and this, that, whatever, that I need help. You're angry with everyone and everything. Oh, fuck you, you fucking two-faced bitch. I'm not angry with everyone and everything. I'm justifiably enraged with the world of psychiatry and what it's done to my mother, and you should be too, but you don't give a shit, Marion. Period. And I think you'll make a lousy fucking guardian for my mom. The lawyer told me I would make a good guardian for my mom. He told the guardian lawyer, he's like, she really loves her mother, she, et cetera, et cetera. Two words that sum up Auntie: smug and nonchalant. Nonchalant regarding anything bad about happening to her sister, unless she can turn around and say it's all my fault. Certainly not going to place any blame on these hospitals that discharged my mom too soon, or any blame on them, fucking around with her medications big time, or putting her on a brand new medication on Wednesday and sending her on her merry way on Friday home for me to deal with it. No, of course not. Think the judge knows any of that? Of course not. It was all painted to just turn it all on me. In the same hospital that Auntie was furious, she was disgusted with them. If that's the best she could do for my sister, transfer her elsewhere. My mom winds up with the same doctor, same social worker that I have to make the best of, and I did. I smothered down my anger and made the best of it, told her the whole story. Told her what had been happening, my mom's outburst or whatever, spent a half hour talking to her. My mom had signed a release, obviously, and then before you know it, she talked to me again, I talked to her again, I talked to nurses there, and then suddenly, a nurse on Sunday told me the truth. Your mom's not doing good at all. She is not taking her meds, she's not responsive to staff, she peed herself and wouldn't let us help her clean it up, and 2 days later, sorry, Laura, but your mom revoked the release. I can't talk to you. Fuck you all. Fuck you all. I'll do phone sex again. I'll do clips for sale. I'll do whatever so that I don't have to go back and just go and be any part of that world that did this to my fucking mother and ultimately also did it to me.